Marcus Reeves stood on the bridge of the warship Defiance, watching the enemy fleet approach through the darkness of space. 200 alien ships moved toward Earth like a swarm of deadly insects. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their purple hulls gleamed with strange lights that hurt to look at. "Sir, they're sending another message," said Lieutenant Chen from her station. Her voice shook a little. Everyone on the bridge was scared, but they tried not to show it. Marcus nodded. "Put it on screen." The main display flickered and an alien face appeared. It looked like a cross between a lizard and a spider, with too many eyes and teeth that dripped with some kind of acid. When it spoke, the words came through the ship's computers as cold, perfect English. "Humans of the third planet," the alien said. "I am Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species will surrender now. We have studied your technology. You cannot resist us. Submit, and some of you will be allowed to live as workers." Marcus stepped forward. The alien's multiple eyes focused on him. "I'm Commander Marcus Reeves of the Earth Defense Force," he said. "Here's our answer. No." The alien made a sound like breaking glass. "Then you will all die. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. Your people will burn." The screen went black. Marcus looked around the bridge. 38 humans stared back at him. They were all that stood between the alien fleet and Earth. The Defiance was humanity's most advanced warship. But compared to what was coming, it was like bringing a knife to a gunfight. "All stations, prepare for combat," Marcus ordered. His voice was calm and steady. "Today we show these things what humans are made of." The first alien ship to attack was a massive cruiser covered in weapon ports. It fired a beam of green energy that could have destroyed a city. Marcus had already moved the Defiance behind a large asteroid. The beam hit the rock instead, turning it into glowing dust. "Return fire," Marcus said. The Defiance's missiles streaked through space and hit the alien ship's shields. They exploded in brilliant flashes but did no damage. The alien's shields were too strong. Marcus smiled. He had expected this. "Helm, take us into the asteroid field. Full speed." "Sir, that's suicide," the pilot said. "We'll be crushed." "Trust me," Marcus said. The Defiance dove into the spinning rocks. Asteroids the size of mountains tumbled around them. The alien ships followed, but they were too big and moved too slowly. One alien cruiser clipped a spinning rock and spun out of control. Marcus watched the tactical display. He had grown up on stories of old Earth battles. David and Goliath. The American Revolution, World War II. Sometimes the smaller, weaker force could win if they were smart enough. "Weapons, I want you to target that asteroid," he said, pointing to a huge rock spinning slowly ahead of them. "The one with all the iron ore, sir. Fire everything we have at it. But don't try to destroy it. I want to change where it's going." The Defiance's weapons hit the asteroid. The massive rock shifted direction, now tumbling toward the alien formation. The alien saw it coming, but thought it was just another piece of space debris. They ignored it. The asteroid smashed into an alien destroyer. Both the rock and the ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the darkness. The aliens suddenly understood they were fighting an enemy who thought differently than they did. The human commander wasn't just shooting at them. He was using the entire solar system as a weapon. More alien ships moved into the asteroid field. Marcus led them deeper, where the rocks were thicker and moved faster. He used the Defiance's smaller size to dart between asteroids that would crush the bigger alien ships. "Sir, we're getting a message from the alien fleet," Chen reported. "They want to talk." "Ignore it," Marcus said. "Target that ice asteroid. The big one." The missiles hit the ice rock and cracked it open. Millions of tons of frozen water sprayed out like a cloud. When the alien ships flew through it, the ice stuck to their hulls and froze their sensors. 2 more alien ships collided with each other, unable to see where they were going. Marcus felt something he hadn't felt since the war began. Hope. The aliens were stronger and had better technology, but they weren't used to fighting enemies who refused to play by the rules. "Commander," the tactical officer called out. 3 alien ships are breaking off from the main group. They're heading for Earth." Marcus's blood went cold. His wife Sarah and daughter Emma were down there, probably watching the battle through telescopes in their backyard. The aliens had promised to kill everyone on Earth if the humans didn't surrender. "Plot a course to intercept," he ordered. "Maximum speed." The Defiance shot out of the asteroid field like a bullet. The 3 alien ships were already entering Earth's atmosphere. Marcus could see the cities beginning to burn from their weapons. He looked at the tactical display. The Defiance could catch one of the alien ships, maybe two if he was lucky, but the third would escape and continue destroying Earth. Marcus made a decision that would haunt him forever. All missiles, target the lead ship, he said. Everything we have. The Defiance's entire missile supply streaked toward the first alien ship. They overwhelmed its shields and tore through its hull. The ship exploded like a small sun lighting up Earth's night sky. But while Marcus was destroying that ship, the other two aliens reached the surface. They targeted the biggest cities first: New York, London, Tokyo. In minutes, millions of people were dead, including Sarah and Emma. Marcus felt something break inside his chest, but he couldn't stop fighting. Not now. The Defiance caught the second alien ship as it was leaving Earth's atmosphere. Marcus rammed his ship into it, using the Defiance like a battering ram. Both ships crashed into Earth's moon, but the alien ship was destroyed. The third alien ship escaped back to the fleet. Marcus sat in the ruins of his bridge, bleeding from a dozen cuts. Half his crew was dead. The Defiance was barely holding together, but he had done something the aliens didn't expect. He had hurt them. A message came through from the alien fleet. This time it wasn't the spider-faced commander. It was someone else. Someone more important. The screen showed a creature that looked like it was made of living crystal. Its voice was like the sound of ice breaking. "I am Queen Zalthara of the Zephyrian Empire," she said. "You have destroyed 5 of my ships. How?" Marcus wiped blood from his face and stared at the alien queen. "We're human," he said. "We don't know how to quit." The queen's crystalline features shifted into what might have been confusion. "You cannot win. We will send more ships. Bigger ships. Then we'll find a way to destroy those too," Marcus said. "What is your name, human?" Marcus thought about his dead family, about the millions who had died while he fought, about the billions more who would die if he failed. "Ghost," he said. "Call me Ghost." The queen stared at him for a long moment. Then the screen went black. Marcus looked out at the stars where the alien fleet waited. They thought they had won because they killed his family and destroyed his ship. They didn't understand that they had just created something far more dangerous than any weapon. They had created a human with nothing left to lose. The war was just beginning. 3 weeks had passed since the first battle. Marcus floated in the wreckage of an old space station, watching the alien ship search for him through the darkness. His new ship was smaller than the Defiance, built from spare parts and salvaged alien technology. He had painted it black and named it the Phantom. The aliens called him Ghost now. They whispered his name in their strange languages when they thought no one could hear. Marcus had become something they had never faced before, a human who struck without warning and disappeared before they could fight back. Queen Zalthara sat on her crystal throne aboard the massive ship Dominion's Edge. Her advisors stood around her, their faces showing emotions the Zephyrian species rarely felt: confusion and fear. "Report," she commanded. Commander Vextar stepped forward. His spider-like face twitched with anger. "The human has destroyed 12 more ships this week, my queen. He uses tactics we do not understand." "Explain." "Yesterday he hid inside the rings of the gas giant you call Saturn. When our patrol ships came close, he used the ice chunks as weapons. He fired them at us using magnetic fields. 3 ships were destroyed before we could react." The queen's crystal body shifted colors from blue to angry red. "How does one primitive human defeat ships with shields and advanced weapons?" "He does not fight us directly, my queen. He uses tricks. He hides behind moons and inside asteroid fields. He steals our own weapons and turns them against us. Our sensors cannot find him when he powers down his ship completely." Another advisor spoke up. "My queen, the human is using the solar system itself as a weapon. He knows every planet, every moon, every piece of space debris. We are fighting in his home and he has advantages we did not expect." Queen Zalthara stood from her throne. She had conquered 17 star systems. Her empire stretched across thousands of light years. No single warrior had ever caused her this much trouble. "Send the Void Hunters," she said. The advisors stepped back in shock. The Void Hunters were the queen's personal assassins. They had psychic powers that could read minds and predict enemy movements. They had never failed to kill their target. "My queen," Vextar said carefully, "the Void Hunters have never been used against such a primitive species. Surely regular soldiers can handle one human." The queen's eyes blazed like angry stars. This human has cost me 18 ships and made my commanders look like fools. I want him dead. Send all 5 hunters. Marcus was hiding inside an old mining facility on one of Jupiter's moons when his stolen alien scanner picked up the new ships. These were different from the others. Smaller, faster, and they moved in patterns that seemed almost alive. He studied the scanner data with growing concern. The new ships were using some kind of technology he had never seen before. They weren't just searching randomly like the other aliens. They were tracking him, following his trail through space like bloodhounds. Marcus powered up the Phantom and slipped away from the mining facility. He needed to stay ahead of these new hunters while he figured out what they were and how to fight them. The first Void Hunter found him near Europa, Jupiter's ice moon. The alien ship was sleek and black, covered in strange symbols that seemed to move when Marcus looked at them. It didn't fire weapons at him. Instead, it sent out some kind of energy wave. Marcus felt the wave hit his mind like a cold wind. Suddenly, the alien was inside his thoughts, reading his memories and emotions. The hunter knew about Sarah and Emma. It knew about his anger and his pain. But the alien made a mistake. It tried to use Marcus's grief against him, sending images of his dead family to break his will. Instead, the memories made Marcus furious. His rage burned so hot that it overwhelmed the alien's psychic attack. Marcus fired everything he had at the hunter's ship. The alien was so shocked by the human's mental resistance that it couldn't dodge in time. The ship exploded in a ball of purple fire. The second and third hunters attacked together, trying to trap Marcus between them. They used their psychic powers to predict where he would go, cutting off his escape routes. But Marcus did something they didn't expect. He flew straight at the nearest one. The alien ship tried to dodge, but Marcus crashed the Phantom into it at full speed. Both ships tumbled toward Jupiter's surface, but Marcus had ejected in an escape pod at the last second. He watched the alien ship burn up in the gas giant's atmosphere while he drifted in his tiny pod. The fourth hunter found Marcus's pod floating in space. The alien thought the human was helpless, but Marcus had been waiting. He had rigged the pod with explosives and alien technology he had stolen. When the hunter ship came close enough, Marcus triggered the bomb. The explosion damaged the hunter's ship and sent it spinning out of control. Marcus used the distraction to escape in a small fighter he had hidden nearby. Only one Void Hunter remained. The final hunter was smarter than the others. Instead of attacking Marcus directly, it went after the human survivors hiding on Earth's moon. Marcus watched from his hiding spot behind one of Saturn's moons as the alien ship began bombing the lunar colonies. Marcus felt the familiar rage building inside him. The alien was using innocent people as bait, trying to force him into a trap. It would work, and both Marcus and the hunter knew it. Marcus flew toward the moon at maximum speed. The hunter was waiting for him, its psychic powers reaching out to read his intentions. But Marcus had learned something from fighting the other hunters. Human emotions were like fire to these creatures. They could read thoughts, but strong feelings confused and hurt them. As he approached the hunter's ship, Marcus thought about everything he had lost. His wife's smile, his daughter's laugh, the millions of people who had died while he fought this war. The anger and grief burned in his mind like a star. The hunter screamed inside Marcus's head and tried to break away, but it was too late. Marcus had gotten too close. He fired a stolen alien weapon that tore through the hunter's hull like paper. As the alien ship exploded, Marcus heard the hunter's dying thoughts in his mind. Your emotions, they burn like acid. How do you live with such pain? Marcus didn't answer. He was already thinking about his next move. Queen Zalthara received news of the hunters' deaths while she was planning the invasion of another star system. When her advisors told her that all 5 of her elite warriors were dead, she felt something she had never experienced before. Genuine fear. How? She whispered. The human's mind is different, my queen, her chief advisor explained. Our psychic warriors could read his thoughts, but his emotions overwhelmed them. He feels pain and anger more strongly than we thought possible. The queen stood and walked to the great window of her ship, looking out at the stars. In all her centuries of conquest, she had never met an enemy who could not be defeated by superior technology and psychic power. Double the patrol fleets, she ordered. I want every ship searching for this ghost. Use scanners on every frequency. Check every moon, every asteroid, every piece of space debris. But even as she gave the orders, Queen Zalthara felt a cold certainty growing in her crystal heart. This human was different from any enemy she had faced. He fought not just with weapons and tactics, but with something the Zephyrians had never understood. The kind of desperate courage that came from having nothing left to lose. For the first time in her long life, the Queen wondered if she might actually lose this war. Marcus drifted in space between the outer planets, thinking about his next move. The aliens had thrown their best warriors at him, and he had won. But the victory felt hollow. Every day he fought, more humans died on Earth below. He needed to do more than just survive. He needed to start winning. Queen Zalthara had not slept in 7 days. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the human's face, Ghost. The name echoed in her mind like a curse. Her crystal body had turned a sickly yellow color, something that only happened when Zephyrians experienced extreme stress. "My queen," Commander Vextar said as he entered her chamber, "we have deployed 300 ships to hunt the human. Surely we will find him soon." The queen turned away from him. 300 ships. Half of her invasion fleet was now hunting one human instead of conquering Earth. Her other commanders were starting to ask questions. Some even suggested that maybe they should retreat and find an easier target. "He cannot hide forever," she whispered, more to herself than to Vextar. But even as she said it, the queen knew she was wrong. The human had been hiding for 6 weeks now, and every day he grew bolder. Yesterday he had destroyed an entire supply convoy near Mars. Last week, he had somehow stolen one of their communication arrays and used it to broadcast a message to every ship in the fleet. The message had been simple. "This is Ghost. You're in my home now. And I'm coming for all of you." Marcus crouched inside the ruins of the old International Space Station, working on his latest creation. Around him, scattered pieces of alien technology glowed with strange lights. He had become an expert at taking apart alien machines and putting them back together in ways their creators never intended. His new weapon looked like a cross between a human missile and an alien energy cannon. He called it a fusion spike. When it hit an alien ship, it would burrow through the hull and explode from the inside, where the shields couldn't protect them. "Testing Phase 1, Marcus said to himself. He had started talking out loud just to hear a human voice. After weeks alone in space, the silence was getting to him. He fired the test weapon at a piece of space debris. The fusion spike hit the metal chunk and burrowed inside before exploding. The debris vaporized completely. Marcus smiled. That'll work. But as he worked, Marcus wasn't just building weapons. He was also listening to alien communications. Over the weeks, he had learned enough of their language to understand their radio chatter. What he heard gave him hope. The Zephyrian Empire was bigger than he had thought, but it was also weaker. The aliens ruled through fear and superior technology, but they had never faced real resistance. Most species surrendered after the first battle. The few that fought back were quickly crushed by overwhelming force. But Marcus was different. He was one human with a small ship fighting an entire fleet. And somehow he was winning. Even better, he was learning that the alien empire had problems. Other conquered species were starting to rebel. Ships were being pulled away from Earth to fight uprisings on distant worlds. The Queen was losing control. Marcus keyed his communicator to a frequency he had been monitoring. It was used by human survivors hiding throughout the solar system. "All resistance cells, this is Ghost," he said. "Time for Phase 2. Over the past month, Marcus had been secretly contacting human survivors. They were scattered across the moons and space stations of the outer planets, hiding from alien patrols. Most thought the war was over and Earth was lost. Marcus had other ideas. "Listen carefully," he continued. "The aliens think they've won because they control Earth, but they're wrong. We're going to take our home back, one piece at a time." The first coordinated attack came 3 days later. While Marcus hit an alien patrol near Saturn, human fighters struck supply convoys near Jupiter and Mars. The aliens had been watching for one human ship, not dozens of small attacks spread across the solar system. In 6 hours, the humans destroyed 20 alien ships and captured enough weapons and supplies to arm 100 more fighters. Queen Zalthara watched the reports come in from her throne room. Her crystal face had turned almost black with rage and fear. "How many humans are there?" she demanded. "We estimate fewer than 10,000 survivors total, my queen," an advisor replied. "But they are organized now. The one called Ghost has taught them his tactics." 10,000, the queen repeated. 10,000 primitives against my empire of billions. But even as she said it, she knew the numbers didn't matter. The humans weren't fighting like any enemy she had ever faced. They didn't care about winning battles or controlling territory. They only cared about making the aliens pay a price for every day they stayed in the solar system, and that price was getting higher. Marcus floated in the cargo bay of an abandoned mining ship, looking at the faces of 30 human volunteers. They had come from all over the solar system to join his resistance. Scientists, miners, engineers, soldiers, old and young men and women, all united by one thing: they refused to give up. The aliens think we're beaten, Marcus told them. They think we'll hide in the dark and wait to die. They're wrong. He activated a holographic display showing the alien fleet positioned around Earth. See this formation? They're protecting their command ships in the center, with the smaller vessels on the outside. It's a good defensive formation against another fleet, but it's useless against what we're going to do. Marcus zoomed in on one section of the alien formation. These supply ships bring food and fuel from their home worlds. Without them, the fleet dies. We're going to hit every supply convoy, every fuel depot, every communication relay. We're going to make them afraid to leave their big ships. A woman named Dr. Sarah Chen raised her hand. What if they just bomb Earth to make us stop? Marcus's face went hard. They could do that. But they won't. How do you know? Because they need Earth intact. They want our planet, our resources, our people as slaves. If they destroy everything, they get nothing but a dead rock. Another volunteer spoke up. What about when their reinforcements arrive? We can't fight the whole empire. Marcus smiled, and there was something cold and dangerous in that smile. Who says we're fighting the empire? We're just fighting the ships that are here, and every day we keep fighting. Every alien ship we destroy, the rest of the empire sees it. He changed the display to show a map of Zephyrian space. I've been listening to their communications. Other worlds are starting to rebel. The aliens' perfect empire is cracking. We just need to keep hitting them until it breaks completely. The attacks began that night. Human fighters struck supply convoys across the solar system. They used Marcus's tactics: hit fast, hit hard, and disappear before the aliens could respond. A morning, 15 more alien ships were destroyed, and 3 supply depots were in ruins. Queen Zalthara stood in her command center, watching reports flood in from across her empire. Rebellion on Kepler 442, sabotage on Proxima Centauri, uprisings on worlds that had been peaceful for decades. It's that human, she whispered. Ghost. He's shown them that we can be beaten. Commander Vextar approached carefully. My queen, perhaps we should consider negotiating with the humans. Offer them terms for surrender. The queen spun around, her crystal body blazing with angry light. Negotiate? With primitives? Never. But even as she said it, Queen Zalthara felt a cold certainty growing in her mind. This war was not going as planned. The human called Ghost had done something no enemy had ever done before. He had made her afraid. For the first time in centuries, the queen wondered if her empire might actually fall. Marcus drifted in space near Neptune, watching the alien fleet through his scope. They were pulling ships back from their patrol routes, concentrating them around Earth. They thought that would make them stronger. Marcus knew better. When an enemy pulled back and concentrated their forces, it meant they were scared. He opened a communication channel to all human resistance cells. All units, this is Ghost. Phase 3 begins tomorrow. It's time to take the fight to their home base. In the distance, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the stars. Marcus's homeworld was still in alien hands, but that was about to change. The real war was just beginning. Queen Zalthara stood before the massive window of her flagship, staring at the blue world below. Earth hung in space like a jewel, beautiful and defiant. For 2 months she had been trying to crush one human warrior. Instead, her empire was falling apart. Her crystal body had turned a deep purple, the color of shame among her people. Behind her, the bridge crew worked in nervous silence. Everyone could feel their queen's growing madness. Status report, she commanded without turning around. Commander Vexitar approached carefully. My queen, we have lost 47 ships in the past week. The human resistance has spread to every moon and asteroid in this system. And Ghost? Still alive, my queen. Still fighting. The queen's reflection in the window showed eyes that burned like dying stars. One human. One primitive warrior with stolen technology. How has he destroyed my perfect empire? She turned to face her command staff. Half of them stepped back involuntarily. The queen's face had become something horrible to look at. twisted by emotions no Zephyrian was meant to feel. "Bring me Ghost's psychological profile," she ordered. A nervous technician activated a holographic display. Marcus Reeves appeared as a three-dimensional image, rotating slowly in the air. His human face was scarred and tired, but his eyes still burned with determination. "Tell me about him," the Queen said. Marcus Reeves, age 34, former Earth Defense Force commander, lost his family during our initial bombardment. Has no formal training in guerrilla warfare, but has adapted our own tactics against us with remarkable success. The Queen studied the human's face. "What makes him so dangerous?" The technician hesitated. "My Queen, our psychologists believe the human experiences emotions at levels we cannot comprehend. His grief and anger have given him a kind of strength we have never encountered." "Emotions," the Queen repeated. The word tasted strange in her mouth. Zephyrians felt some emotions, but they were weak, controlled things. Nothing like the burning passion she saw in this human's eyes. "He fights not just for victory, but for revenge," the technician continued. "He has nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. Our analysts believe this makes him essentially unstoppable by conventional means." Queen Zalthara felt something cold settle in her chest. For the first time in her long life, she was beginning to understand what fear truly meant. Marcus crouched in the maintenance tunnels of a damaged alien cruiser, working by the light of his helmet lamp. The ship had been crippled in yesterday's battle and left behind when the alien fleet retreated. Now it was his. Around him, alien technology hummed with strange energies. Marcus had become an expert at reverse engineering their systems. Human engineers might not be able to build technology like this, but they were very good at breaking it and putting it back together wrong. "Computer, status report," he said in broken Zephyrian. He had learned enough of their language to operate their basic systems. "Hull breaches sealed. Life support at 60%. Weapon systems offline. Engine core damaged but stable." Marcus smiled. Perfect. He didn't need the weapons or engines. He needed something else entirely. For weeks, Marcus had been listening to alien communications across their empire. What he heard had given him an idea so dangerous and crazy that it might actually work. The Zephyrian Empire was held together by fear and communication. Every world, every ship, every commander was connected by a vast network of quantum transmitters. Orders from the Queen traveled instantly across thousands of light years. It was how she controlled an empire of billions with just a few million soldiers. But every network had weaknesses, and Marcus had found one. He crawled deeper into the ship's communication array, carrying a device he had built from stolen alien technology. It looked like a metal spider with too many legs, covered in lights that pulsed with different colors. "If this works," Marcus muttered as he connected the device to the alien systems, "I'm going to really ruin their day." The device was a virus, but not the kind that attacked computers. This virus attacked something much more important. It attacked ideas. Marcus had studied the alien communications for weeks, learning how their society worked. The Zephyrians believed their empire was invincible because they had never been truly defeated. Their entire culture was built on the idea that they were superior to all other life forms. Marcus's virus would spread that belief throughout their communication network. But it would carry a message that would shake their empire to its core. The Zephyrians could be beaten. "We're being beaten by humans. Computer, transmit message on all frequencies," Marcus commanded. Transmitting. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds and ships, aliens received the same message. It appeared on their screens, in their data networks, in their personal communications. The message was simple, but it carried the weight of truth. "This is Ghost. The Zephyrian Empire dies today. Rise up, be free," but the message carried more than words. It carried proof. Battle recordings showing human fighters destroying alien ships. Intelligence reports showing the Queen's growing desperation. Evidence that the mighty Zephyrian fleet was trapped in one small solar system, unable to defeat a handful of human survivors. The effect was immediate. On Proxima Centauri, slave workers stormed the alien garrison. On Kepler 442, the entire planetary defense force switched sides. On a dozen other worlds, revolutions that had been simmering for years suddenly burst into flame. Queen Zalthara watched her empire burn from the bridge of her flagship. Reports flooded in from every corner of Zephyrian space. Rebellions, defections, uprisings. In 6 hours, she had lost control of more territory than she had conquered in the past decade. "How?" she whispered. "The message came through our own communication network," her chief technician reported. "Ghost somehow hacked into our quantum transmitters. Every ship, every world, every command post received it at the same time." The Queen's crystal body blazed with fury. "One human did this? One primitive warrior brought down my empire? The message carried proof, my Queen. Battle recordings, intelligence reports, evidence that we are losing this war. The other species we have conquered now believe they can defeat us." Queen Zalthara felt her mind beginning to crack. Everything she had built, everything she believed in was crumbling around her. And it was all because of one human who refused to surrender. "Where is he?" she snarled. "Unknown, my Queen." The transmission came from a damaged cruiser, but it was empty when our forces arrived. "Ghost has vanished again." The Queen stared at the tactical display showing rebellion spreading across her empire like wildfire. Each red dot represented a world in revolt, a fleet in mutiny, a people she could no longer control. "Recall all ships," she ordered. "My Queen, all ships. Every vessel in the Empire. Bring them here." Commander Vextar stepped forward. "My Queen, if we do that, the rebellions will spread unchecked. We will lose everything. We have already lost everything," the Queen screamed. Her voice echoed through the bridge like breaking crystal. "This human has shown the galaxy that we can be beaten. If we cannot defeat him, the Empire falls regardless." She turned to face her officers. Her eyes burned with a madness that made them all step back. "Bring me every ship, every weapon, every soldier. I want 10,000 vessels in this system. I want enough firepower to crack planets, and then I want that human found and killed. And if we cannot find him, my Queen," Queen Zalthara's smile was a terrible thing to see, "then I will destroy this entire solar system. Every planet, every moon, every piece of space debris. I will turn it all to dust and scatter it across the galaxy as a warning to anyone who dares to defy the Zephyrian Empire." But even as she gave the order, the Queen knew she was lying to herself. The Empire was already dead. Ghost had killed it not with weapons or armies, but with something far more dangerous: hope. Marcus drifted in a stolen alien fighter near the edge of the solar system, watching the enemy reinforcements arrive. Ship after ship materialized from faster-than-light travel, until the space around Earth looked like a metallic forest. 10,000 alien vessels, the largest fleet ever assembled, all here to kill one human. Marcus should have been terrified. Instead, he smiled. "Computer, open a channel to all human resistance cells." Channel open. "All units, this is Ghost. They've just made our job easier. Now all our enemies are in one place." He looked out at the massive alien fleet and felt something he hadn't felt in months: joy. The Queen had just made the biggest mistake of her life. She had brought her entire empire within range of one very angry human. The largest fleet in galactic history surrounded Earth like a metal storm. 10,000 alien ships blotted out the stars, their weapons pointed at the blue world below. Queen Zalthara stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching her empire's final gamble unfold. "All ships report ready, my Queen," Commander Vexistar announced. "We have enough firepower to destroy every planet in this system." The Queen's crystal body pulsed with dark energy. For 3 months, one human had humiliated her across the galaxy. Today that would end. "Begin scanning," she ordered. "Every ship, every frequency, every possible hiding place. Find Ghost," but the Queen knew her real enemy wasn't hiding anymore. For the past week, the human had been broadcasting on open channels, taunting her fleet, daring them to come closer. He wanted to be found. That thought filled her with dread. Marcus floated in the command center of what had once been the International Space Station. Around him, 30 human volunteers worked at stations cobbled together from alien and human technology. Their faces were grim but determined. "Sir, the alien fleet is moving into final position," reported Dr. Sarah Chen. "All 10,000 ships." Marcus nodded. "Perfect. Sarah, status on Project Wildfire? Ready for activation. The charges are placed throughout the solar system. When you give the word, every piece of alien infrastructure will be destroyed simultaneously." Marcus smiled. For months, human resistance teams had been secretly planting explosives on alien mining facilities, communication relays, and supply depots. The aliens thought these installations were secure. They were wrong. "What about the big surprise?" Marcus asked. "The solar array is charged and ready. replied James, a young engineer who had lost his family on Mars. The aliens still don't know we've been building it. For 2 months, humans had been secretly constructing a massive solar collection array using salvaged alien technology. It was hidden in the asteroid belt disguised as space debris. The aliens had scanned it dozens of times and seen nothing but rocks. The array could collect and focus solar energy into a beam powerful enough to crack a moon. The aliens' own technology turned against them once again. "Sir," called another voice. "Incoming transmission from the alien flagship." Marcus straightened his shoulders. "Put her on screen." Queen Zalthara's face appeared on the display. Her crystal features had turned completely black, the color of death among her people. When she spoke, her voice was like the sound of breaking glass. "Ghost," she said, "I have brought my entire fleet to this insignificant system. 10,000 ships, enough weapons to destroy worlds. Surrender now, and I will allow your species to live as slaves." Marcus stepped forward. Behind him, 30 humans worked at their stations, preparing for the battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. "My name is Marcus Reeves," he said. "I was a husband and a father before you came here. You killed my family. You destroyed my world. Now I'm going to destroy your empire." The Queen's face twisted with rage and madness. "You are one human. I have billions of soldiers." "You're right," Marcus said calmly. "But you have one problem." "What?" Marcus smiled, and there was something terrible in that expression. "You brought all your ships to my home, and I know every piece of space debris, every asteroid, every moon. This is where I learned to fight. This is where you're going to die." The Queen screamed with fury and cut the transmission. Marcus turned to his crew. "All stations, this is it. Today we show the galaxy what humans are really made of." The battle began when the alien fleet opened fire on Earth. Beams of energy that could melt mountains struck the planet's surface. But the shots hit empty cities and abandoned factories. The aliens were destroying a world that was already evacuated. While they wasted their fury on empty targets, Marcus struck back. "Project Wildfire, activate now." Across the solar system, explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. Every alien facility, every supply depot, every communication relay exploded simultaneously. In 30 seconds, the alien fleet lost all of its support infrastructure. Solar array, target the command ship. A beam of concentrated sunlight, focused through alien technology, lanced across space and struck Queen Zalthara's flagship. The ship's shields held, but barely. Alarms screamed throughout the vessel as energy systems overloaded. "Impossible," the Queen snarled. "How did they build such a weapon?" "My Queen," her technician reported. "They used our own solar collection technology, but they've modified it in ways our engineers never considered." The Queen felt ice in her crystal heart. The humans were using Zephyrian science better than the Zephyrians themselves. Marcus watched the alien fleet scramble to respond to his attacks. They were powerful, but they moved like a bureaucracy instead of a military force. Too many commanders, too much confusion, too much fear. "Launch the fighters," he ordered. From hidden bases throughout the asteroid belt, human ships emerged. They were small and crude compared to the alien vessels, but they moved with purpose and coordination. Each pilot knew exactly what to do. The human fighters didn't try to fight the alien ships directly. Instead, they attacked the fleet's formation, forcing the massive vessels to break apart and maneuver. In the chaos, alien ships collided with each other. Some fired on their own forces by mistake. Queen Zalthara watched her perfect fleet dissolve into confusion and realized something that chilled her to the core. She was going to lose. "All ships, focus fire on the solar array," she commanded. But as her fleet turned to attack the hidden weapon, Marcus sprang his final trap. "Computer, activate the Jupiter slingshot." For weeks, Marcus had been secretly moving asteroids into position around Jupiter, using the giant planet's gravity to accelerate them to incredible speeds. Now hundreds of rocks the size of buildings came screaming out of nowhere, traveling so fast they were almost impossible to track. The asteroid barrage tore through the alien formation like bullets through paper. Ships that had survived battles across the galaxy were destroyed by chunks of ice and iron traveling at relativistic speeds. Queen Zalthara felt her sanity crack as she watched her empire die around her. This wasn't warfare as she understood it. This was chaos, creativity, and pure human stubbornness turned into weapons. "My Queen," Commander Vextar said quietly, "we must retreat. The fleet is being destroyed." "No!" the Queen screamed. I will not be defeated by one human. She turned to her weapons officer. Target the planet Earth, full bombardment. If I cannot have this system, no one can. But before the order could be carried out, a new voice spoke on the bridge. I don't think so. Everyone turned. Marcus Reeves stood in the doorway wearing a stolen alien environment suit. His human weapon was pointed at the Queen's crystal heart. How? The Queen whispered. While you were watching the big battle, I flew a small ship right up to your docking bay, Marcus said. Your sensors were looking for fleets, not one man and a fighter. He stepped forward and the alien crew backed away. They had heard the stories about Ghost. They knew what he was capable of. Your empire is finished, Marcus continued. Half your fleet is destroyed. The other half is retreating. Every world you conquered is in revolt. It's over. Queen Zalthara looked into the human's eyes and saw something that broke her mind completely. Pity. You could have been great, Marcus said sadly. Your technology, your knowledge, your abilities. You could have helped build something beautiful. Instead, you chose to be bullies. The Queen fell to her knees, her crystal body flickering between colors like a broken light. What are you? Marcus lowered his weapon. I'm just a human who learned that being strong isn't about having the biggest ships or the most advanced weapons. Being strong means never giving up no matter how bad things get. He looked around the bridge at the alien crew. Tell your people the war is over. Earth is free. And if any of you want to start over, want to learn how to build instead of destroy, you're welcome to try. 6 months later, Marcus stood on a hill overlooking the ruins of New York City. The aliens were gone, fled back to what remained of their empire. Some had stayed behind, working alongside humans to rebuild what the war had destroyed. The galaxy was different now. The Zephyrian Empire had collapsed, and dozens of species were free for the first time in centuries. They looked to Earth as a symbol of hope, proof that tyrants could be defeated. A young reporter approached Marcus. Sir, people are calling you the greatest warrior in galactic history. How does that feel? Marcus looked up at the stars, where ships from a dozen different worlds traveled freely through space that had once belonged to the Empire. I'm not a warrior, he said quietly. I'm just a human who refused to quit, the reporter pressed on. What's next for you? Marcus smiled, thinking of the letters he had received from species across the galaxy, asking for help building new governments, new alliances, new ways of living together. There's a lot of work to do, he said. A lot of people who need help learning how to be free. That sounds like a good way to spend the rest of my life. As the sun set over the healing Earth, Marcus Reeves walked down the hill toward the future he had fought so hard to create. Behind him, the stars watched over a galaxy where freedom had triumphed over fear, and hope had proven stronger than the mightiest empire. The legend of Ghost would live forever. But Marcus was ready to just be human again,